Hello, imaginary friends. I can't say I remember no Atin, and neither does Caleb. This is a special episode where we will talk briefly about the story in Skeleton Crew. Timothy's not here. There was no mutiny. He just stepped out because he hasn't seen the whole thing.
It yet. Exactly.
He doesn't want to spoil it for himself.
Stop. Major spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want any spoilers, come back and watch this after you've watched Skeleton Crew. If you don't care, continue watching and listening to us talk about why we liked it and maybe why we didn't like it. So the premise is kids find a pirate ship and they go off world and they have to find their way home with a mysterious character that may be a Jedi, maybe not. That's an awesome premise.
Okay, so let's start by highlighting the good. You go first, Daniel.
So I am pretty good at enjoying something overall, even if I don't like everything about it. Partly because it's just like, okay, here's more Star Wars content. Yes. I want more Star Wars content. You've given it to me. Thank you. And also something to watch with my kiddo. Overall, I thought it was like a really fun hot pot of the different kinds of flavors of film and story that they wanted to do. I definitely enjoyed the like homages to the 80s stuff, including like just the intro music. That was really fun. But I definitely thought they had so much potential that wasn't quite realized in a lot of ways with character arcs, especially Jod, who they were like, this guy's kind of a Jedi, but he's also kind of not, and he's basically Long John Silver. But because you know that going in, you also want him to be something a little different, which he never really does become. He's just Long John Silver, who's kind of a Jedi, but also not. And then you give his backstory at the very end. Would have been nice to get some clues, a little more clues to that along the way, I think. I just felt like that was just, it felt like an afterthought and ingenuous because of that.
I agree.
Okay.
I think that the first 3 episodes were the best thing since Mandalorian season 2. It was fun. They set up the characters really well. I was so excited about Wim and Neil. Seeing them pretending to be Jedis, like before school, was so nostalgic and fun. And I'm like, I love these guys. I love these characters. I felt like there was a lot of depth or potential depth between him and his father. So I really liked the acting. I liked the puppetry and CG, like combining. I thought that was done really well for the most part overall. Every scene that Jude Law was in, I was locked on that guy. I thought he was incredible. It reminds me of his Captain Hook. He was the only good part in the Peter Pan show that came out last year. Terrible show. Do not watch it.
I had forgotten he was even in that because I disliked it so much. But
he was the only good part in that whole show. So yes, those are all the good things that I would say. Daniel,
to Mark Addy. Just want to say for the droid,
the pirate droid with one eye and a peg leg. Oh, so good,
so awesome. And his name is literally Smee. SM-33. That's no accident, obviously.
SM-33, Smee. I love it.
All right, let's highlight the bad.
What was bad for me was just that feeling of being robbed of something really satisfying. It smelled good. It was cooking on the stove. I came in the kitchen. I was like, I had a snack too late in the day, but I'm hungry anyway because this smells amazing. You put it on my plate. It looked beautiful. I took a bite and it tasted incredible. And then I had another bite and another bite. And then a few bites in, it was like, there's something here that, you forgot to maintain certain things that you had set up. And that is mostly in the story department. Definitely felt that you had set up certain characters, as you say, and you had set up certain expectations based on those characters. Now it's okay to break expectations and to subvert
100%.
them, to spin them on their heads, to do all kinds of stuff like that. But when you just kind of ignore them, that's the problem.
Yep. And they ignored him. They ignored Wim. And I feel like Jude Law's character was also, he wasn't given the right attention at the right times. It felt tacked on.
Even though he was given plenty of attention.
He was given plenty of attention, but like his story development and stuff, if you're going to put that in there needs to be time, or you need to just change some things here and there. Because he was sitting down with Wim and giving him great advice and caring for him and caring for the kids. And then he turns around and is like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you. Oh, I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna do whatever it takes." And it's like, what? Like, no, that doesn't vibe. Even at the end too, where he can destroy the kids and whatever, and he just kind of is like,
Yeah, he's
It's
like, I
like,
don't
okay,
really
so-
want to hurt anyone. Oh, is that
Right,
why
so,
you
like-
told your guys to invade the planet?
to invade. Why? Like,
With no specific, like, you didn't even give any details. Just invade. They're
That
gonna
was
do
one of my-
whatever.
that was one of my biggest qualms. I'm sitting there going, why doesn't he just say, I killed the robot, now we're in charge, but keep your life the same exact way? We're in
You
charge.
could have done that.
We are the robots now. We're going to run everything. You're fine. Like, don't worry about it. And they're killing people, and then he's like, I just want you to keep your life. I'm like, why didn't you just say that from the start?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was so frustrating. I was like, this is dumb. Like, if he had said that to the pirates, and then the pirates were like, no, we're pirates, we're going to kill, that would change his character.
Good.
It would
Good
change
point.
their characters.
Yeah.
It would change the story.
Yeah.
Then he could even go and help them. So
He could be
they're,
in that moral quandary of, like, I want the money,
100%.
I want to be in charge of a crew, but, like,
but I need to save these kids that
Yeah.
I care about.
that's a much more interesting quandary.
That's one. That's my one, like, that's a huge qualm. My second qualm is they took Wim and Fern and switched them from main character and co-star to main character and nobody. He's like,
Yeah.
he became nobody until the end where they did the hero shot of him where he's like, I don't have to take the test anymore. And it's like,
Yeah.
It's so lame. Such a cop-out. It's like, oh, yeah, no, we gave him what he needed. No, you didn't. You didn't give him any kind of screen time after the second episode. And even the third episode was great, but the second episode, like, Wim was, relegated to the back seat. And and I felt like that really bummed me out.
I don't know, like, if you want to make the story about Fern, that's okay, but, like,
Then just
you
make it
start
about
it
Fern.
with Fern.
That's fine. Yes. And make her more
make it about Fern.
interesting. Yes, and make it more interesting too, because all of the setup that I saw for Wim, there was like 5 different routes you could go. And
Yeah.
with her, she was just a rebel against her mom.
But they could have easily made that into something more.
Yes, they could have made her have depth. She could have been, I'm angry at my mom because she left my dad, or my dad died and so my mom doesn't know how to treat me. My mom is too obsessed with work, so she
Right?
doesn't give me
Like,
enough
we just
time.
don't spend time together.
But it was like none of that.
Yeah.
It was just like, she's a rebel and, hey, be better. Okay, and I'm not going to be better. And it was like, she didn't feel like she wanted to be Fern's mom. And so for me watching it, I'm like, I don't care about the mom at all. I don't care about their relationship. I want Fern to just be a rebel, which she was throughout. But then she's like leading the show and carrying the show because it became the Fern show. And that just, she couldn't carry it. Her character couldn't. The actress was awesome, but her character could not carry the show, in my opinion. So that's my huge qualm number 2. Huge qualm number 3 is the bloated episodes and side missions that I didn't care about.
Like the whole other planet that's like the mirror planet.
Yes.
It was
the war
basically
planet.
just existed so that we could not have what we need. Like, no,
Exactly.
we can't go to At-Atten yet. Or wherever we're actually going. Like, we can't go there yet, so
100%.
let's go here. In that respect, like, it really reminds one of, like, the kind of video game writing that's sort of episodic.
Yes.
Where the entire purpose of the main quest is to visit all sorts of side quests.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely.
And really the main quest is just like a spine for all of the side quests. And you
And
have
you're
a
going
good
off on
beginning.
the
You've got
rails.
something down there at the sacrum. You've got something up there at the skull. But otherwise, the main quest isn't really its own thing.
In a television show, that's frustrating. Even in a book, that can be frustrating. It can be a lot of fun, but it can be frustrating. In a game, it's awesome because you can choose to go on these side quests, and then you are driving the side quest. All right, so how about, Daniel, we talked about the good, we talked about the bad. How about we give scores? What would your score be for the Skeleton Crew overall?
Okay.
And would you recommend people watching it?
This is what I would do to score it. I would split it into departments, and then I would score each department, and then I would give an average. And so I'm gonna say it gets several 10s,
Sure.
and then but story is a bit lower for the reasons we've discussed. So I'm gonna say it's an average of 8.5 still. Like it's still pretty high for me.
Okay.
Like I would definitely say watch it. Like you could even watch it and not know anything about Star Wars, and it would still make sense. That's a good
100%,
thing. But if you're only thinking about story, you're gonna score lower.
Yes, exactly, and that's where I was getting at. I would score it like at a 5 or maybe a 6 for story. I think that it starts out very strong. I was very upset going after at like episode 4 on. I was just like, I'm not happy with this. And since it was, I think that maybe it was advertised as Goonies in space, I was going in there thinking it was going to be a 10 out of a 10 out of a 10 out of a 10. And
not that we ever have rosy views about movies we saw when we were kids.
No, of course not. You know, it's just, it defined my life. I think that, you know, there was just so much about it that rubbed me the wrong way that I would, you know, I think that I would tell people to go into it watching it with low expectations, to go in watching it expecting Jude Law to take out the lightsaber and do absolutely nothing with it and then just put it back in. To me, as that was going on, I said, what he just did to those people, the parents that ran and grabbed their children, he just took out a gun and started shooting it. That's like modern time. And then he just puts it back in and everybody's like, oh, thank you so much, diplomat. And then who takes out a lightsaber and just stands there walking towards you? Literally the only reason that was put in the story was to end the episode and then start the next episode with him with it. And then, hey, hi, oh, we're happy.
So gimmicky.
So that is such a disappointment. To me, that sums up the story. It starts out great. It looks cool, but then it just like falls flat. And again, I would say, I think as a Star Wars fan, I really, really wanted this to be good. And, you know, having good content like Mandalorian 1 and 2 with really bad content, the new trilogy, Mandalorian Season 3, Boba Fett, all that. Ugh. I think that you need to go into everything
Boba
like...
Fett. But we can talk about that another time.
Oh, no, that's another episode. Oh, Daniel. Oh, Daniel. But anyway, okay, so having good with the bad, you never know what you're going to get into. And I should have tempered my excitement because I was definitely let down. So it's a 5, a 6. But I would say that if you do go in, maybe you should watch it. If you're a Star Wars fan, maybe watch it. You'll get some fun, nostalgic, good feelings out of it, especially in the first 3 episodes. Go into it with very low expectations, and maybe your score will be
that solves everything.
Yes. I really
Enter
think
every relationship. Watch every movie. Everything you eat. Go in with low expectations.
And then you'll never be mad. You'll never be mad.
Yeah.
So I think that unfortunately that's the state of Star Wars and Disney right now, is you have to go in with such low expectations that any glimmer of hope or goodness is like, oh, that's amazing. That's steak. That's rare steak. So anyway, what do you think? Have you seen Skeleton Crew? What did you think of the outfits, the CG, the story, the bloated episodes, the lightsaber coming out for no reason? What did you think of it? What was your score? Put your score down in the comments. Let us know where we were right. Let us know where we were wrong. Did you love it? Is it your favorite Star Wars content ever? So let us know, and thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Hi, if you liked that, then maybe you'll like this, or maybe you'll like what's above Daniel's head, or covering his face.
My lightsaber pointing at the...
Maybe I'll put a lightsaber in. Probably not. I don't know if I have a time anymore, but...